All right, Miles, the Seattle Seahawks. Look, they just keep impressing. They keep making powerful statements. They're sending messages to the NFL. They're now 5-3, fresh off a huge victory over the 6-1, previously 6-1, now 6-2 New York Giants. This Seahawks team has just passed every test along the way. They're at the top of that division. They look like one of the better teams in the NFC. They're a real contenders. And there's some stuff we want to talk about this game specifically that really jumped out and impressed us with the Seahawks. But before we get into that, Seahawks fans, look, another big win against a contending team. The Giants were 6-1. They've been beating pretty much everybody so far this season, only one loss. Huge win for Seattle at home. Way to get it done. But we want to hear from you in the comments section. Who do you think was the MVP of this performance? There's a lot of guys that came up, kind of an up and down game. The Seahawks had a lot of big guys step up for a huge victory. Let us know who you think was the MVP in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your first impressions of this double-digit 14-point Seahawks win.
Yeah, Nick, when I look at this, I think, okay, the last three games, you got Chargers, you got Cardinals, and then Giants now. The Seahawks have been beating some impressive teams lately, some teams that, especially one's a divisional opponent. Cardinals are always going to be tough. The Chargers were contenders and still maybe contenders. The Giants definitely were contenders, kind of jumped out and surprised everybody. But the Seahawks are getting it done, Nick. And one thing I really like when I look at the stats of the game, what jumps out at me is spreading out of the ball by Geno Smith. You got Lockett with 8 targets, DK Metcalf 10 targets, Marquise Goodwin got 5 targets. And so there's like 5 receivers with over 20 receiving yards. So they're getting the ball spread out. Everybody's contributing. Everything's going really well. Kenneth Walker had another decent game, 51 yards and touchdown. So just overall, Geno Smith is being very efficient, methodical on how he spreads the ball out. There's really not one person you can key in on this team and say, okay, if you shut down DK Metcalf, the Seahawks are done. Because that's not true, because Tyler Lockett is there, Marquise Goodwin's there, Noah Fant has looked okay in the last few games. He's really starting to heat up from this trade. I just think it's a good, balanced offense overall, and that is what I took away from this game.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway for me, you bring up the balance on offense. I just love the mentality and balance from a team perspective because the way the game was going for a while there, it fit how the Giants were winning, right? The Giants have come out to the 6-1, now 6-2 start. They run the football, they slow the game down. Daniel Jones' mobility converts some third downs. You know, they just kind of keep it close, right? They capitalize on opponents' mistakes. And obviously the Lockett fumble gave the Giants an easy touchdown, kind of kept the game close. And it was 13-10, right? The Seahawks had, I'm sorry, it was 10-10. Lockett drops what should have been a touchdown. So then it's 13-10, right? It just kind of feels like the Giants mojo. The Giants are moving the football. It just kind of feels like these games, right? Because the Giants win the fourth quarter. They scored 14 against the Packers to beat the Packers in the fourth quarter. They scored 14 against the Ravens. They scored 10 against the Jaguars. The Giants, they kind of hang around. They win the fourth quarter. It looked like it was trending that way. And what did the Seahawks do? They forced the Giants to settle for a field goal attempt, tie it up 13-13. Immediately, the Seahawks get the football back, drive down, big touchdown to Lockett to take the lead, right? There you go, get your first score. Then they get a quick stop by the Giants. They get the ball back. They're not able to do anything with it, but they get the turnover on special teams. And then 2 plays later, they don't mess around, go up 2 scores, and then obviously shut out the Giants the rest of the way, the final 27-13. They beat the Giants at their own game. They took advantage and won the fourth quarter. And that's what I love about the Seahawks team. They find different ways to win games. Because one of the hard things in the NFL is that so many different rosters, the way they're set up, they only can win games certain ways, right? You got a real defensive football team. You can, like, kind of like the Giants, right? They have to win games, close, low scoring games. Or if you got a high powered offense and a bad defense, you have to win shootouts. The Seahawks have proven they can beat other teams at their own game, right? They beat the Lions in a shootout. They beat the Broncos, really good defense and kind of defensive struggle, right? They beat the Chargers in a more offensive game. And here they go, the Giants, the kind of game the Giants like to play, slow, methodical, taking advantage of other teams' mistakes. The Seahawks did that and beat them at their own game. I think that's a huge message here because this is how you can be a real big time contender in the NFL. If you have multiple ways to win, and the Seahawks showed it here, I think it's a great sign for them the rest of the way.
Yeah, and the development of Kenneth Walker really jumped out at me. You kind of saw him he make some interesting plays this game, especially on that touchdown run, Nick. When he broke out, it was to the right side of the field. Everything was closing down. He kind of skirted out to the left side of the field, weaved in and out of the defenders, and, like you said, closed the game out, boosting it up 2 scores game. And the Giants aren't built to come back or something like that. And like you said, it was really good that Seahawks were able to close it out. We've seen a lot of teams this year not able. The the game slips through their fingertips right at the end of the fourth quarter. You think, okay, we got this, but then all of a sudden a team starts clawing back on you. But the Seahawks slam the door shut. They score, like you said, come back, score again, say, this is our game. We're going to finish it out. And I'm just very impressed with what they did against a very strong Giants team. I can't reiterate how much this win is. This is like the first true test of one of the bigger opponents in the NFC coming in from the Giants. They look really strong coming into this game. They've beat a lot of good teams, and the Seahawks go toe-to-toe with them and honestly dominate them on both sides of the ball. Holding the Giants to 13 points was nice, and scoring 27 points on that defense, also very nice.